This is not good radio, bro.
Y'all see what y'all know what time it
Listening,
is. Fight on, man. Fight on. It's that time. It's that time. Game week. Big game coming up this weekend. It's gonna be a good one.
Yes, it will be.
USC excited for it. We're waiting all year for this. Great things ahead. It's your boy G along with Alec. Great things on the way. They'll be talking about USC and UCLA is going on this weekend, as well as our usual things going into all the NFL things going on right now. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. If y'all just viewed our Black Panther review, appreciate y'all for tuning into that. We had to throw it in there real quick because we really enjoyed that movie. So appreciate y'all for tuning into that. And we're back for our regularly scheduled episode. Again, follow us online on IG and TikTok at section.300. Follow us on Twitter at Section Sports. Follow me at Just Say G. Follow Alec at Alec our Foster on all platforms. Subscribe to the show, all that good stuff. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So let's jump into it. All right, so I know I teased USC, and y'all see what's going on in the back. I'm very excited for this week. It's going to be a great one. As we usually do, we're going to start with the NFL. There's a whole lot to get to in that regard. So starting with the pros, Week 10 has wrapped up. It was another fun week of football for most folks. For our folks here in LA, though, it was a little bit of a struggle. The Rams lost to the Cardinals yet again, lost 27-17 to them on another disappointing loss. I think this is their third straight L that they've taken now, and they just continue to fall apart. Even worse than that, beyond just losing, they lost Cooper Kupp with an ankle injury, and it was very sad to see him go down.
Double homicide.
Say that again?
Double homicide.
Yeah, oh, truly. Yeah, trust. Jeez, yeah. They'll be hurt to see him go down like that. And yeah, many folks are marking this as the official end of the season for them. Do you agree with that, Alec?
I think it's over now. But to our question last week, losing Cooper Kupp for at least 3 weeks or whatever, because he's probably going to go on IR if he hasn't already. It's done now. Like Stafford, that was his number one weapon, and for good reason. He had the Triple Crown last year. Mm-hmm. Allen Robinson's the number one wide receiver now. So, and we see how
Skowronek.
Yeah, exactly. we see how that's gone. It's not going to be pretty the next few weeks.
Just a quick note: the next 4 games are at Saints, at Chiefs, versus the Seahawks, and versus the Raiders. They might be one.
They're only beating the Raiders. Everyone else is out.
Yeah, that hurts. So, definitely a tough thing to see from them. And I agree that I believe that's the end of the season for them. They're already last in the division. They're 3-6 on the season already, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any much better from there. So the next question, though, will be looking forward to next year and how they move on from this, I guess, falling apart of a season after the Super Bowl they won last year. So the question is, should the Rams reload after this season or rebuild and just go into a full rebuild and find a new core to push forward with?
I don't know if you just said that. I think Cooper Kupp's on a contract here. Mm-hmm. Like he could potentially go somewhere else. So coming off the injury, I would think they want to bring him back. So
well, just to note real quick, when I say the core to me is Stafford, Kupp, Bobby Wagner, I guess, as he has older important presence on the defense, as well as Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So you keep those 5 guys as your core, or do you move a few of those around to better rebuild going forward, better retool going forward?
Me personally, I would probably move a couple around, as hard as that would be with as talented as some of them are. I think they're just over the hill. Like they're not washed, but they're getting older. And the only one who I'd say is in their prime. It doesn't matter about Aaron Donald because he's still good outside of his prime.
Right.
But the only one that's still in their prime, I would say, is Cooper Kupp. I think Jalen Ramsey is a little bit over the hill. I think Stafford is a little bit over the hill. I think who was the 5th one?
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
And also to note, you say that now, he signed a 5-year contract with the Rams.
Exactly.
When he first got traded there. So he probably was going to be here, but if they can find a way to Yeah, rebuild some other way. They might want to look into that a little bit.
They should have kept Von Miller. Like, he was great for them. But
yeah.
I mean, Von got a bag in Buffalo, so maybe
he left for a reason.
Yeah. But yeah, you probably move Wagner. It would be really hard for me to move Aaron Donald. Like, he feels like kind of the face of the Rams other than Cooper Kupp.
So who are the three? Well, I guess Wagner's staying, I guess, because he has the contract. So who are the two others that you're keeping?
Are you sure he's staying?
Well, okay, if not, then okay, if not, if you can keep two of the five, Stafford, Kupp, Wagner, Donald, Ramsey, what two are you for sure keeping?
Two are you for sure keeping? I'm probably keeping Stafford and Kupp because they have that connection, but I may look at some of the QBs in the draft if they're available.
Okay.
As far as next steps after, because like I said, I think Stafford's like just over the hill, like he's past his prime now, but they already have what you've seen is a Super Bowl winning connection when you have an offensive line and weapons. So
I think you can rebuild. I think Kupp is still young enough. You can rebuild that chemistry with somebody else and get that same production out of him.
But who would that be?
Not.
Who would that be though?
Who would that be? I'm not sure. I'm just saying of the two, I'm keeping Kupp and I'm keeping Donald. And the rest of y'all, if I keep you, we figure it out. But if they have to go, then so be it. So yeah. I guess to that question, that's how I'm looking at it.
I mean, like I said, I think Donald's the face of the franchise, so it'd be hard to move him. But so I would keep those three. I think you can move on from Ramsey. Like he's still good, but he's not the elite of the elite like he used to be. So I think you can move on from Ramsey and Wagner and try to retool this offensive line, because that seems to be the main issue. If you have Aaron Donald, you're still going to get pressure up front. So looking for another secondary piece in Ramsey's absence, but I think you could move Ramsey and Wagner.
And once we're saying that, in my head, it kind of comes off in a negative way. I do still like their games a whole lot. So flipping it, is there a way to keep that core and get back to the title as we saw last year?
Drafting an O lineman in the first round that you are very high on, like if it's a good class.
I don't think they have that pick though, right? Didn't they
trade? Not have any first round picks? Because I know it was F them picks last year to get some of the guys they got. So
their first round picks traded to the Lions next year. They only have at the moment only have 4 picks. They traded, so next year's draft 2023, our first round pick was traded to the Lions for Matt Stafford. The 4th round pick was traded to the Patriots for Sony Michel.
Yeah, I see.
The 5th round pick was traded to the Browns for Troy Hill, I guess. The 6th round, one of our 6th round picks was traded or was from the Packers actually. So we actually got some. We got a pick from the Packers. We got a pick from the Titans for Robert Woods and a 7th round pick. So second, third, 6, 6, 6, and 7. So we have 6 picks next year. But
I'm not as well versed on how NFL drafts go as far as packaging picks and that kind of thing. But in the NBA, I would say package your 2nd and 3rd for a first round pick to get a O lineman, a difference maker. If you see a difference maker at O line, I would say go for that, or a difference maker at wide receiver too, because you're gonna need someone else with Cooper Kupp.
To that point,
O line is the primary for sure. Yeah.
To that point, Odell was here last year and was pretty much the MVP for us in the Super Bowl before his knee went out, and that's part of why he's no longer here. Also why he's not here because of the contract situation and them not wanting to pay enough for him. And though the season has fallen apart, him wanting to find a long-term home, I could see a way where this could still be it alongside Kupp and those guys. Would you still want the Rams to go hard for Odell and to secure that receiving group?
If he's open to that, and if he's prioritizing having a home over winning this year, then I guess he'd still be open to it. But if he wants to win, he's not coming here.
He did name it. He did name his top 5 already, or allegedly, and it's the Bills, Cowboys, Chiefs, Giants, and Niners. So those clearly are our teams that are doing pretty well this season and on a very much upward trajectory.
Right.
So returning into LA doesn't seem like it's possible, but just for the Rams' sake and for the discussion, I looked at that. I'm like, even though we're a struggle this year, he joins us this year and he fights through the last few games, and then next year we rebuild, and all of a sudden he's back up into that pivotal role that he wanted. So
almost
just looking at it as a possibility still for.
It kind of sounds to me like trying to recapture the magic of the Super Bowl, and you really can't do that in the NFL.
Understood.
Yeah, like I'm sure he still can be a good player, but that's another knee surgery, another recovery that he's coming back from, and then you're having Cooper Kupp coming off this ankle injury now, Matt Stafford with his shoulder, like potential for the team to fall apart again if you go hard on veteran guys with injury histories. So I feel like both like retooling and it's a slight rebuild too, like to your original question, because they need to retool the offensive line and maybe move some of their older pieces.
Got it. Yeah, I agree. So we'll see how the Rams handle that. As you said, it's a tough stretch for the season, especially these next four. And we hope it's just not an embarrassment, I guess, at this point, as our LA folks with the Lakers, I guess, can be at times, and their demise, which we'll get to at another time. But definitely rough things there. The other team in so far, the Chargers, are still trying to cement themselves. Had a tough game this last week versus the Niners on Sunday night. Lost to them 22-16, which was still a valiant effort, but came up short. And that was even without
story of the Chargers.
Yeah, the story of this same old Chargers pretty much. And that also to that point, dealing with injuries as always. They were without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but they're both returning to practice this week and hopefully will return. Can the return of Allen and Williams get them into the playoffs?
If I was a Chargers fan, I would not hold my breath on that.
Got it.
Especially on Keenan Allen getting back on the field. Like we talked about, hamstrings are a tricky injury, and it's been like he's day to day or week to week, like every single week. And he's in practice, he's not in practice, he's gonna play. He plays a few snaps, but he's still dealing with it. So I wouldn't put my chips in on Keenan Allen being like the savior. Mike Williams, if he's out there, we talked about him. He's a boomer bust guy too. So it obviously helps their chances if those guys are healthy, because they're more talented than the other guys that they have on the roster, who have done a decent job in their absence, in DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer. But I don't think it's something that you can bank on, like as a Chargers fan going forward, like because health is clearly an issue for this team.
Got it.
I mean, Herbert's still dealing with a rib injury, I'm sure. Like he's playing through it, but so I wouldn't bank on them like saving the season in any way. Yeah.
So you don't think they're getting into the playoffs?
It's close. Like they're gonna fight for that 7th spot, I think.
Right.
But just looking at how like the AFC East has 4 teams over 500 right now, I think that they might be the odd man out. The Chargers, they're gonna be right on the cusp. Yeah.
Got it. So I agree with that as well. What does that then mean for that team? Should they be looking into a possible retooling situation as well, or a slight rebuild and moving away from Allen and Williams and guys of that nature?
Yeah, I think you got to go after a young wide receiver, because Mike and Keenan just have clear injury concerns like each year, and you need someone that Herbert can count on week to week. We've talked about like the talent that Herbert possesses, and we see that talent unleashed when guys get that number 1 wide receiver, like a Jalen Hurts, like a Kirk Cousins with Justin Jefferson elevating their play. So like he needs that number 1 guy out there to fully see the scope of like what Justin Herbert can be. And I think as long as he doesn't have that, like the Chargers are kind of held back. So I think they are going to need to look elsewhere at wide receiver. I'm sure there's some loyalty there to Keenan, but you got to think about wins and losses. I mean, Brandon Staley's probably thinking the same thing with his job probably going to be on the line if they don't make the playoffs. So
gotta get that figured out. So to the point about the playoffs, their next 4 games versus the Chiefs, at the Cardinals, at the Raiders, and then versus the Dolphins. So a tough stretch coming up. They're going to need Allen and Williams to be available for them because Herbert can't do it all by himself.
right.
Him and
Eckler's been great too. I don't want to
him
discredit him.
Can't do it alone. They need some guys on the outside to help out with that a little bit, and hopefully they can be there to provide some assistance. So looking forward to them. Definitely fun things there. And just good and possibly some good things going on in the future for at least one LA squad.
Yeah.
Looking for the team that we kind of compared to the Chargers because of the injuries and all of that. My squad, the Ravens, are getting healthy themselves. They had a bye week this week, thankfully, in the process. Gus Edwards and Mark Andrews are getting healthy again. They're both returning to practice as well this week, and hope to be back on the field versus the Panthers this week. So should be a good one. I will ask this though: we're first in the AFC right now. We're 6-3. Folks are putting us back high in the power rankings and things of that nature again. And we kind of discussed it before, but I'm gonna ask it again right now. Are the Ravens fool's gold this season?
And by that, what do you mean? Like
a team that we see as a fraud, I guess, in short. Are they a team that we see as Super Bowl potential that's going to end up losing in the first round or something like that again?
Well, I don't see them as Super Bowl potential. Like I think there's a couple teams.
I thought you said they were. I thought you said they were 13-4, and then you said they saw you could be up there and Lamar MVP and all of that. So what flipped?
I still see them as a team that could be 13-4. I just think there's a couple of teams in the AFC that are slightly better in the Bills and the Chiefs. So, like I could see them get into AFC Championship game, but I don't see them getting. I don't even see them getting to the Super Bowl between those 3 teams. Even the Dolphins even are interesting against them too.
Got it.
So I think they'll have regular season success. I think they're good, but I don't think they're better than a couple of the top AFC teams. That's all.
I just agree. I think they have a formula that can win and will be very useful in the playoffs when maintaining that run game. And now, as we said, unleashing Isaiah Likely as well, and possibly using that two tight end sets with Andrews getting back as well. And though Bateman is hurt, I think they could find enough production out of Duvernay and the ways they utilize him and James Prochet and guys of that nature to have a offense that's sustainable enough.
The names you just mentioned are why I'm like, this is not going to happen.
It does sound bad, and that's been my question as we discussed all season long. But seeing how they've been utilized in recent weeks, I think it's very much possible still for them. Also, as I've been saying for the other teams, our next 4 games, for example, are the Panthers, the Jags, the Broncos, and the Steelers. But I think all are very winnable games and all of that. But also, I get to the point I'm trying to say, and that not only are you winning those games, but you're getting these guys that weren't as big of figures in the past. You're getting them more involved and can find ways that you can utilize them for a playoff push. So I don't think the playoff. I don't think they're fool's gold. I think they can actually make a real run. I think they can compete, as we already have seen, with both those teams that you have ahead of them in the Bills and the Chiefs, and with anybody else. The Dolphins, they also were up on as well before blowing that lead. So I think they can compete with anybody. And still make a real push here. So I still have high hopes for them, even with oh my God, even with Bateman out. My bad. Even with Bateman out, I think they still can make a real push in that Lamar surrounded by weapons and opening up the offense more as they started to do, in my opinion. I think definitely can still make a big push. And again, adding Wilcon Smith in that on the defense definitely will be impactful as well. So a good defense, a good run game. We see how that can carry folks a long way. And then Lamar has to make a few throws, and which I think he's learned from the mistakes that he hasn't made throws early on in the season, and will get those right going forward, and will make a push there. So yeah, I don't think they're frauds this year.
Defense has been better. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not calling them frauds. I don't think they're frauds. I just don't think they're as good as a couple other teams. And that's okay. Like, I think they can, in a head-to-head matchup, maybe sneak by one of them. But I don't think, like, I mean, you mentioned, like, the game against the Dolphins, and I think they're a better defensive team now. But that another challenge I see facing them in a potential playoff scenario is stopping that offense. And then
they were up like 20 on them before they blew the lead. So it's
right.
they showed that they could do it, and they added it on
48 unanswered or whatever. So and Lamar was not good in the second half either.
Again, they made those adjustments. So again, I think it's possible.
It's possible. I don't think Super Bowl is really in the cards, but it's like it's similar to previous seasons with the Ravens. Like they've been really good before. Just like not quite able to get over that hump. And I don't think with no wide receivers really. Like you have Duvernay, salute, but there's no real wide receivers. It's Mark Andrews, and if Likely steps up, I just think you don't have quite as much talent. You have Lamar, who's all world, but just it resting all on his shoulders is kind of tough. Like when it comes to going head to head with Mahomes or going head to head with Josh Allen and the weapons they have. So,
well, we shall see. I'm gonna keep rolling with them until they prove you right. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out, but definitely excited for the rest of the season for the Ravens and all of the Rams and Chargers as we discussed as well. So that's the individual discussions for week 10. We're on to the Him Zone, plenty of good stuff to get go on with there. Alec, as we start off now, Alec, for your not HIMVP, who you have as your not HIMVP this week?
Yeah, I might just give it to this guy for the rest of the season, but I got Russell Wilson on here again.
He's become the face of not HIMVP. This is him at this point.
I sent you the TikTok update of the dude with the yeah. I think he's at 7 passing touchdowns now, something like that, and it's week going into week 11 now. It's been pretty grim if you're a Broncos fan this year that had high hopes for them. Russ got the big $250 million contract before even playing a snap, and it's been all downhill since then. Another close loss this past week to the Titans, 10-17, 1 passing touchdown. It's just been rough. If you're a Denver fan, I'm sorry. I can't even say better days ahead because it looks grim right now. So
here's a quick question. You mentioned the contract, which I think was a 6-year deal. Do you think he plays all 6 in Denver?
No, I don't. He may retire before the 6 years, to be honest.
I don't think so. I think Russ is one of those guys that's just.
But how old is he?
Stick around. He's somewhere around like 33. I thought
he's like 34 or something like that.
He's right around there, right?
He's 30. He's about to be 34 in November 29th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if he's playing at 40. That's kind of rare air with Brady and them. So
correct.
I think he hangs up.
That's always been his plan, though. He wanted to. I heard he wanted to be the next Magic Johnson or something like that, and brand himself and all that kind of stuff. So I think he plays. He's gonna play. I just don't think he plays all 6.
Broncos might rather have Magic Johnson at quarterback right now. I don't know.
at this point, man. So yeah, definitely tough stuff there. Moving on to one of my things then. Best outfits. Dory Jackson. Salute to him. He's from out here. SC guy and all of that. Had a nice outfit going into their game last week. Celine shades. They had like a checker, like a Miri jacket that was real dope. Some black jeans, and I think there was off-white sneakers that look real cool.
Like you've mentioned an Amiri something every week.
That's what everybody likes these days. So everybody had that on, and he put it on this week and looked real good. So salute to him for that. And two more that I wanted to point out. Jalen Hurts going into their game, which they lost versus the Commanders. Surprising. We'll talk about that later on potentially. But he was like I think the color was it wasn't purple. I think the color
was like fuchsia kind of.
Fuchsia. I think he called it like a rose red type suit. It looked real good though as he was walking in. And guys, some guys can rock a suit, other guys can't. He seems to have put it on pretty well, so I want to salute him in that. And it wasn't a suit, but Marquise Goodwin had an all white outfit, beanie, and it was a large white coat and all that kind of stuff, and sneakers or boots and all that to match. All white, look real clean. And I think that was when they were going out to Germany. Germany for that Bucks game. So he put on for that. I think he scored in that game as well. So salute to him for that. And yeah, those definitely scored some nice outfits. Best plays. Usually they're touchdowns, but 3 of these are, and then 1 of these is not. Okay. But y'all, I'm sure can guess why. The 3 touchdowns, Tannehill and Henry did a hook and ladder. That gave the ball to Henry. Henry tossed it back. Then he found Westbrook, I believe it was. I forgot what his
Westbrook
name
and
is.
Keenan.
Well, Westbrook Keenan for like a 60-yard bomb. That was real cool. Definitely wanted to point that one out. Another one, Justin Fields was like 10 yards out, trying to scramble around. They had brought down Mooney on a motion and then bounced him back out. And he was trying to do a little pass out to him, but they got covered up. So we scrambled around the backfield, couldn't find anything. Was going to run, but the lines were all over him. He was going to the right, and somebody grabbed him and tried to tackle him, but they didn't grab him. And they, kind of like to that meme, they swung his body to the other side. And it actually freed him up. And he found the lane to the end zone and actually barreled through two guys and got in for the score. So that definitely was a cool one to see. So salute to him in that. The third touchdown that I had to mention one of these from him. Rodgers to Christian Watson, his breakout game. He caught one 50-yard bomb, breaking past a guy. Just was great to see that he finally got I guess comfortable in that offense. He's been struggling leading up to that moment, but finally broke through. So I'm glad that connection is finally developing there. So salute to him. And then the one play that wasn't a touchdown but had to be mentioned, Justin Jefferson's catch at the end of the game versus the Bills, one-handed, contested from a defender, definitely had to be mentioned. People are calling that catch of the year already. In the moment of the game to do that, and in all the concepts that was surrounded, definitely was one of the better catches that I've seen. And definitely want to salute him in that. Folks are comparing it to another LSU guy and Odell on the catch he made a while back. Do you think which catch would you say is better, the Justin Jefferson catch or the Odell one-handed catch?
What's his name? We already forgot about the what was it? What's his name? Pickens from Pittsburgh. He had a nasty catch like week 2 or whatever.
It was solid.
But between those two, because of the contested, and I feel like that one was probably a degree of difficulty a little bit more, but I don't know. That Odell one is still kind of like the most iconic one to me. It's like he caught it with like his fingertips almost, like behind his head and everything.
And it also too, like I get the context of the Vikings game where you couldn't really pause in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But I still remember where I was for the Odell catch. Like time stopped. We were like, wait, what? Like there's no way.
Time stopped, but
it was just such a big moment. Like,
I get you.
He scored on that play as well. So it was just like, I can't believe he just did that. It started a whole trend. Anytime you saw anybody else do a one-handed catch after that, doing the Odell catch, like it became so synonymous with him that I still give that to him. But Justin Jefferson, I will say, definitely is worthy of the debate at least with what he did last Sunday. So salute to him for that. That definitely was impressive and surprising and amazing that they pulled out the victory in that game. That was definitely game of the year as well. So good stuff from there. The last part I have, my bad, is best celebration. I think we won. I think he did it again because I think I mentioned him last week also. Aaron Jones scored again in the game versus the Cowboys, and as he's going to the end zone, diving into the Marshawn Lynch, going into the end zone. He did it again this week, and wanted to point that out. Another fun one, the Tyreek Hill got in the end zone as well, and he went over to the ref, and instead of handing him the ball, he was for a handshake. And the ref, I guess,
that was kind of awkward because like the ref wasn't having it.
Wouldn't take his hand, so Tyreek Hill pretended to fake out, and he did a fake. He passed out, and the team tried to resurrect him and bring him back up. And then he went and danced along the sideline back to his side. So that was fun. And the last one, too, is someone that we just mentioned, Justin Jefferson, got in the end zone early in the game actually, and did it gritty, but he did a little switch up, which I thought was funny. He was doing this gritty, and it was like, my hamstring, like he cramped up, and then went back.
But they stopped him before he got to actually finish.
His team was worried; they thought he actually hurt himself, so they kind of pulled him. But I think that was funny how he did add a little variation to it. I'm excited to see how he seems to add to that going forward. The last thing I just want to see how Gesicki does his version going when he scores again soon, doing his little version and cramping up and then fixing it. I'm excited to see that too. So good stuff all around there. Anything you get to say there?
I don't know if you saw like the clip because there's a clip of it's like a woman soccer player who did that same thing. Like she fakes the hamstring And then
really? That's where you got it from?
No, at the end, she starts twerking. So I wasn't sure if Justin Jefferson was going to do that same thing. I'll send it to you after. It's funny.
Well, as we saw with Jamal Williams earlier this year, too many pumps and it's a flag. So I don't know if Justin wants to pull that out, especially in the game as tense as that one.
Twerking is okay, but not thrusting, according to
well, I don't know. Hey, you popping something either way. So I don't know. But yeah, that definitely would have been funny. I'm excited to see how Justin kind of evolves his dance going forward as become so synonymous with him. So yeah, great stuff there. And then lastly, our most important thing of the HIM zone, HIMVP. Alec, who you got as the best performer of this week?
Yeah, well, you already mentioned 3 of these guys, but Justin Fields, he had 167 passing, two touchdowns passing, and then 147 rushing. Yeah,
almost saved my fantasy team. Matt got us again. That damn Matt. Jesus, I put up my best. I put up 130 again. Thought I had it in the bag, but he put up a effort as well. That trade was a fair trade. Now we bed. Connor and Smith showed out for him, so it worked out. But yeah, he found a way to beat me because of, or I couldn't even with the great performance that Fields put on for me. So yeah, salute to him this week yet again.
So yeah, and then 147 rushing and 2 touchdowns rushing as well. So 300 yards, 4 touchdowns between the throwing and passing. He's been on one the last 4 weeks or so, and in fantasy, he's been like top 3 quarterback the last few weeks or so. So if you're able to scoop him up, salute. Justin Jefferson, who we just talked about, he had 193 yards and a touchdown. I thought it felt like he had even more just with how like dominant the day he was on the day he was. Like it felt like he had like multiple touchdowns too. And
people called that the best receiver performance they've seen in a decade. So
that felt a little overhyped to me, but like it was great. Like he was sensational.
I mean, also it's hard. I mean, I don't really remember many performances to be honest. So just off of memory, I'll give that to him because I can't recall many receivers having standout days like that.
Even the Randy Moss was like 3 catches for like several hundred yards and 3 touchdowns like immediately. But
and as big of a game as that as well, I think that has to add value too. So I'll say that's one of the better ones for sure that I've seen. So yeah, salute to him for putting on a show like that.
Yeah. And then I had on here CeeDee Lamb. They did lose this game actually to the Packers, which was a surprise for some.
Keep doing that.
Justin Fields lost the game too, so I got to. But it was like looking shaky early. There was like 2 interceptions that Dak threw, and one was kind of because of CeeDee Lamb, like not running the route as he thought he was going to. Correct. But he ended the day with 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like he was clearly developed that connection with Dak that seemed to be missing early on. But in this same game, who you mentioned, Christian Watson finally popped with Aaron Rodgers. He had only 107 yards, but 3 touchdowns, which were huge, and they needed every single one of them to win that game against the Cowboys. And they needed a wide receiver to step up in Devontae Adams' absence, and Romeo Doubs is hurt now. So they needed every bit of that from Christian Watson, and maybe he'll be a spark for them going forward. We'll see.
There was a lot of debate about who the better receiver was between Doubs and Watson as Doubs came onto the scene early in the year. I think that kind of put that to bed, and that Doubs still can be great.
Both kind of had their issues, like catching the ball.
Yeah, they both had their issues, but I think seeing the potential, of the ceiling being a little bit higher for Watson.
He's got that 4.3 speed too.
Yeah, that too. Put them in the one spot. So glad to see that they both are balling there. So
I had to scoop them up off waivers real quick.
I saw that. I saw it. I was bummed. I tried, but I was like 12th on the waiver wire. So I'm not gonna waste my time.
Got to be strategic.
Yeah, enjoy.
And then lastly, kind of unconventional to tight end, but I got Cole Kmet on here. It's not the flashiest of names, but he's got 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. He's benefited from Justin Fields' resurgence. He's had 2 touchdowns each in the last 2 games alone. So he's been feasting, and tight end it's a pretty thin position. As far as skill positions go in the league, it's pretty much Andrews and Kelsey.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a Kittle performance, Occasionally you get Kyle Pitts.
Right.
But Cole Kmet's been pretty consistent the last 3 weeks, and he's been the number 1 guy for Fields. So
they're going the Lamar route, get you a good tight end, and then the rest will fall in line. So Kmet is starting to emerge. The offense figured out, and it's definitely benefited him and Fields in their progression. So salute to them for that.
Yeah, but since Justin Jefferson got the win too, I would give it to Fields because he's been insane. But I'll give it to Justin Jefferson with 193 in the touchdown and the win over the Bills.
Yeah, his presence was felt the most of those 4 guys that you mentioned. So have to give it to him. And just the moment, adding a all-time catch in there, all that kind of stuff. It had to be him. So Watson was great as well. But there's levels still, even in your dominance. So Justin Jefferson for that. So great stuff there. That's it for our weekly Him Zone stuff. In regards to our hyperbole stuff, we wanted to add in though, yet again, we like doing the little ranking things and all that kind of stuff. We did the team rankings after every 3 weeks as we've been doing, and we'll continue to update that as the season goes on. I'd love to do those things. But there's also a QB ranking thing that's going on, and now we're 11 weeks in, and we thought it was a perfect time to start doing that. The Blaiden from the Stay Hot Pod has that available on his site as well. So we want to do a quick QB rating for you guys as well as things go on and see how we have guys stacked up. So I'm gonna load this right now and we'll try it out for the first time. So we're here again, as I always do. Want to make sure, shout out Blaiden and the Stay Hot Pod. We're not stealing nothing. All credit to you. We appreciate you guys coming up with this system. Love how you guys have put this together. It's real. We
ain't gonna rank the attractiveness though.
We're not doing. Blaiden posted recently. He did one, him and his girlfriend, based on the attractiveness of the QBs. We're gonna do that today. We'll have maybe save that for a Patreon episode. If y'all want to ever get onto our Patreon, when we get that started. But for right now, we're just gonna go based on better QB right now. We're gonna go. It's slightly on talent because talent definitely plays its part, but it's also in the production we've seen. Which will weigh a little bit more in our evaluation. So get started with it now.
Want to define it like just so me and you are clear too, and we make our choices like just for this season, like for the rest of this season.
This season
like right now for the rest of this season.
This season right now. I guess it's 60-40 production talent. So talent may be better. Like for right now, I think Kyler's the answer either way. But Kyler's more talented than Stafford. But if Stafford had a better record, we have to acknowledge that for what he's done with his team. So in that type of regard, that's how we're going to weigh it. So as I said already, we'll get into it. First off, Stafford versus Murray. I'm going Murray there. Jimmy G versus Gino. I go Gino. I'm glad we're on the same page. Carson Wentz versus Hurts. It's clearly Hurts now. Dak versus Danny Jones.
Danny Jones had a good season.
Correct.
I don't think he's been spectacular though.
No, that's been my thing. I don't think he has individual performances that have been better than what Dak has done. Exactly. So I still say Dak in that. Brady versus Winston should have been a debate, but Winston hasn't been doing nothing the last few weeks.
I want to see Winston back on the field, but Brady.
Yeah. Baker versus Mariota. Baker might be dead last in my opinion. So and Mariota has had a quiet resurgence this year. On that Falcons squad.
It hasn't been great. I don't know if you saw it.
It hasn't been great, but they have a formula there, and he has benefited from it. So I'll put Mariota.
I'll say Mariota too.
Fields and Goff.
It's Fields. Yep.
Rodgers and Cousins.
That's an interesting one because talent alone, I'm going Rodgers.
Right. Of course, Rodgers is a better talent right now, but he hasn't been producing at all. Some parts are his own fault. Some parts are all things going on around him. But Kirk has been cooking this year. We have to acknowledge that. So
better weapons.
That too.
I don't know if he has like crazy better weapons. Like clearly, Justin Jefferson is the best between both those teams.
Right.
But Rodgers does have Aaron Jones there too. Where would you lean? I think just off this season, it's probably Kirk to this point.
I have to give Kirk his credit this year.
Yeah.
So I lean Kirk in that, even though we understand the all-time great talent that Rodgers is. I'm actually gonna say Kirk right now.
Okay.
God damn.
I think are they playing this week? No, not this week.
The ultimate mid-off, the fraud off right now.
Oh, I think they are playing this week actually.
Both of the leaders of the NFL, the two guys that love to hang on their leadership and all that stuff. Russell Wilson versus Derek Carr.
Two strong Christian men.
Yeah. I didn't want to lean into that fully like that, but I'll let you say it. I say Derek Carr barely in that.
I would say Carr. I would say that.
And I'm gonna just leave it. I don't feel like talking too much about it. I'm just leave it there.
I just said Russell's the not MVP of the year.
Understood. Mahomes and Herbert. People like to put up there with Mahomes, but he's not there yet. I still gotta be Mahomes. Jones and Tua. Mac, people tried to say was up there with Tua for a little while, but Mac has fallen all the way off. So I say Tua in that clearly. Josh and Zach, they tried to say Zach was up there with Josh as well in the next one. Zach has not been that at all. Definitely Josh there. Sam Ehlinger and Davis Mills. Sam showed some nice flashes, but he already's been replaced by Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's been back on there. How about this? I don't know if they have Matt Ryan on here.
Okay.
Do we want to say Matt is Sam?
Does that? I think that might change this because if this was Matt, I would go Matt.
That's what I'm saying.
I'd probably go Davis Mills if it's Ehlinger, though.
I'm saying I think he only has Sam on here and not Matt. So if we're gonna just in our head swap out Sam for Matt, do you want to do that or no?
No, just leave it as Ehlinger.
Okay, so I'll go Davis as well then.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence versus Ryan Tannehill.
Why does he have this picture with the jersey with no number on it?
I don't know. And low-key, this is like a before and after picture, low-key. Kind of look the same. You see that? Or no, maybe, I don't know.
That looks like a high schooler in that picture. I don't know. But
it should be Trevor, but he's played bad a whole lot recently.
Yeah.
Tannehill just came back and had a decent performance.
I think I'm getting Tannehill right now.
I give it to Tannehill.
Yeah.
Pickett versus Burrow. Y'all tried it with Kenny, but not yet. Burrow clearly in that. Jacoby has been pretty good in Redacted's absence, but he's not Lamar status. So I'm going Lamar. Jimmy G versus Stafford. Stafford's been decent, but Jimmy G's been
I would say it has to be Jimmy G this year. Yeah.
Murray versus Jimmy G is an interesting one because Kyler's a better talent, but Jimmy G's been producing. So I might go Jimmy in that too. I'm not going to lie.
You see that stat where it was like he's won the most games without throwing a touchdown?
Yeah,
it's like 10-2. It's like 10-2.
He coasts on all the talent he has around him all the time. So I'll let you pick on that.
I think it's Kyler still.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Kyler versus Geno is a good one.
I'd probably go Geno. I
say
think they beat him twice too.
I believe so. So I go Geno in that. Daniel Jones versus Carson Wentz. I say Daniel Jones.
I'd say Daniel Jones, yeah.
Jalen versus Daniel. That's clearly Jalen. Jalen versus Dak. Dak should be up there, but I'm going Jalen.
Yep.
Baker versus Jameis. Two guys that should be on the bench right now. Or Jameis shouldn't actually, but for whatever reason he's on the bench.
I say Jameis Baker might be last.
Yeah, Baker should be last. And if it's up to me, he will be. After fooling me at that one time last year.
Oh, yeah.
Jameis versus Mariota, the 1 and 2 in the draft a while back.
For me, it's Jameis.
Jameis is the better talent, but Mariota is starting for the Falcons and they're producing.
But he throws like 10 times.
That's fine, but
they're like hiding him.
He's throwing something. Jameis isn't even on the field. He's been replaced by Andy Dalton the last few weeks.
If you want to go Mariota, that's fine.
I'm gonna go Mariota out of respect for the team production right now.
Okay.
Mariota versus Tom Brady. It stops there. We're going Tom.
Yeah.
Rodgers versus Goff. I think Goff
here.
Goff on the head-to-head, but Rodgers is the better talent still and is back on the uphill swing. We believe. Mm-hmm. Rodgers versus Fields. Fields has been looking pretty good, as we have said, like a top 5 QB in recent weeks. But Rodgers might have things figured out. So I'm honestly fine with either way.
They play each other soon, don't they? Did they already play once?
Didn't the Bears win that game?
No, Packers beat the Bears week 2.
Got it.
27-10. They're a different team now, though.
Big shifts on both squads.
As a pure quarterback, it's still Rodgers, but
of course,
the dual threat. I mean, he's been dangerous.
Again, we're saying right now, you just said in HIMVP that Justin Fields is the top 5, at least fantasy-wise, QB right now.
Yep.
If you want to lean that way,
So, I mean, Rodgers just had a great game, too. For now and the rest of the season, I think it's still Rodgers for me.
That's fine. But Fields is right below. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Herbert versus Wilson, not even the question. Still, I still go Herbert in that. Herbert versus Carr, not even the question. Still go Herbert in that. Wilson versus Mack is a mid-off. I say Wilson in that.
Yeah.
Wilson versus Tua is not a debate. I'm going Tua in that. Tua versus Josh is a fun one.
More of a debate, but Josh for me.
I still say Josh, even though he blew that last. He's blew a couple games now.
Yeah. It was like inexplicably bad decision.
Yeah. Trevor versus Sam. Trevor. I guess. Sadly. David versus Trevor. Some folks tried to say I was on there saying they were close in comparison.
Mills Mafia.
Yeah. Mills Mafia. We tried, but Trevor still is a better talent there. I go Jacoby in this one versus Pickett. I got Jacoby there. Burrow versus Brissett. I go Burrow.
You said brisket? You got hungry? You got hungry on us?
We've been recording for a while. Pardon me. Jesus. Lamar versus Burrow. I say Lamar.
For me.
I know for you always pick Joe. Joe's your guy.
It's Burrow. But I'm fine with Lamar.
Lamar's still, with all his deficiencies, as you pointed out, has had his team in a better position. Then the Bengals still number 1 in the AFC North. So I'm going Lamar in that. Stafford versus Wentz was a little debate for a little while, but I think Stafford, even in his losses, is better than Wentz. Wentz has got replaced by Heineke.
Heineke's been great for them. Yeah.
And maybe you could say Stafford doesn't have a good enough backup to replace him, so that's the issue. But I'll say Stafford still.
Hey, don't disrespect Wofford like that.
Yeah, you see him throwing? My God. Stafford versus Daniel Jones.
That's more interesting.
It is. I would say Jones in that. I'm not gonna lie.
I'd say Jones for the rest of the year too. He's got the rushing.
Yeah. Jones versus Garoppolo. I say Garoppolo, kinda, I guess.
But I think that one's interesting too, just because he does have the rushing aspect.
That's a good point.
I might go Daniel Jones actually.
I'm fine with. I actually might go Jones. I'll go Danny Dimes.
I think it ends here though.
Yeah, Murray. Like we said, the weight is a little bit different, and though Jones has the better production, the better team, I think there's too much talent on the Kyler side that can't be ignored in that regard.
Right.
So
Kyler also has the rushing too. So
correct. So that cancels it out. Murray versus Prescott. I go Murray.
What'd you say? You said Murray?
Yeah.
If we're just talking about this year, because I was gonna say in the playoffs, Murray hasn't showed me anything either.
Dak really hasn't either, but that's fine.
Dak missed some time, so that kind of hurts.
Kyler on the Cowboys does what? If they flip, is it a wash?
I'm truly not sure. Like, I'm not sold on Kyler 100%.
I'm not sold on Dak. Still,
he does have the rushing upside more than Dak does.
If they flip, is it a wash or does one team become better?
Dak on the cards.
I think Dak makes the Cardinals worse because Kyler being able to move around on that team.
Do you? Because
I think them a little bit.
Some of Kyler's moving around is like indecision. Like sometimes I think he's too quick to run as opposed to staying in the pocket.
Okay.
I think like you said, it's kind of a wash. Like if they flip.
Got it.
Because I think Kingsbury hurts the Cardinals too.
That's fine.
I'm fine either way. I didn't realize how much you hate Dak, but I think Dak's.
I don't hate Dak. I don't hate Dak. I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's borderline elite as folks believe he is.
I
think he's good. And that's it.
Yeah, I'd have him slightly over Kyler, but
I'll give it to you. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that at all. Dak versus Geno.
From this year, Geno. I think Geno's been it.
Geno versus Jalen.
Hurts.
Goff versus Mayfield. I say Goff still. Jameis versus Goff.
Goff, like if you were saying, like he hasn't been on the field.
Yep. Goff versus Mariota.
I think Goff. I think Goff would be better with Atlanta.
Goff and Tom. Tom and Justin.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Like the one with Rodgers, it's interesting. I think Brady though. I think they're on the upswing too.
Had Brady lost that last game, I'd say Fields, but because they won that last game, I'll give Brady the nod again.
Yeah.
But here we go, Brady versus Rodgers right now.
Yeah.
They both just got back on the upswing.
Yeah.
Who would you pick rest of the season?
This year, I think it's been Brady because, like I said, Brady's had like the 290-yard passing games. He hasn't had the touchdowns. Rodgers,
and, I mean, you can say Rodgers, his receivers have been bad. So
his receivers have been bad, but that loss against the Lions just was so ugly, where he threw like 3 picks.
Got it. There was a lot of communication, as was with the Bucs have had too. So
yeah, Bucs are I think 5-5, while they're 4-6. So like it's close as far as the struggles. Exactly. I think it's Brady though.
That's
in
fine.
An edge.
Cousins versus Brady. I say Cousins.
I'd say Cousins this year so far.
Mac or Russell Wilson. I think
it's Russ. I think it's Russ.
Barely. Russ versus Zach. Wilson versus Wilson.
I might go Zach here.
Really?
I might go Zach here.
Zach's really bad too.
As much as he hasn't like elevated the team, he also hasn't held them back. And I think Russ has kind of held the Broncos back.
Yeah. Zach versus Derek Carr then. the other guy.
We had Carr above Russ. I think Carr does a little bit better on the Jets than Zach does.
Carr and Tua.
It's Tua, yeah.
Tua and Justin's.
This has been the flavor of the month discussion in sports media.
You lean where?
For me, I think it's Herbert. I think he's a little more talented.
I agree. I still think it's Herbert. I think Tua is benefiting a whole lot.
It's a great system
around him.
And Tua's making all the right decisions.
A great system. Yeah, and all of that. To the comparison that we've done, if they flipped, I think Tua would be in hell in the Chargers right now.
Yeah,
Herbert would be MVP, clear MVP with those guys. Awesome. So, I think Herbert is the pick there still. Yeah. Herbert versus Allen, though. I think Allen's above him.
Yeah.
Allen versus Mahomes. We've seen that a few times now. It's still Mahomes. Yeah. Pickett versus Ellinger.
That's a wash.
Yeah. I said Pickett starting still, so I give Pickett the nod, I guess. Mills versus Pickett.
I guess Pickett. I don't know.
Yeah. They're at the bottom either way. So
I think Trevor still has the upside that some of those guys don't.
I say Brissett right here for right now production.
Yep.
Even though they only won 4 games or 3 games, something like that, still themselves.
Yeah.
I say Brissett's been a better QB.
I agree.
Brissett versus Tannehill. I'll give Tannehill his respect there. Burrow over Tannehill. Wentz versus Mayfield. Wentz isn't starting, so Mayfield's starting, but
I would go Wentz.
I'd still say Wentz, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Baker lost his job quick.
Yeah. Wentz and Winston, both guys on the bench right now.
Yeah.
I say Jameis. I guess
Jameis.
Yeah, I won't go too much.
Can't forget that Wentz Eagles season though, where he was like an MVP candidate.
Correct.
That was crazy.
But more recently, Winston has looked good too, though. So, going off of that, I say that Winston and Stafford. Stafford, I guess. Stafford and Mariota.
I'd say Stafford right now, but
yeah, Stafford and Goff. Interesting.
The guys who were traded.
Yeah.
I don't think Goff does it any better because he needs they both need clean pockets.
Correct.
So I'll go Stafford.
Stafford and Fields, I say Fields.
Yep.
Fields and Garoppolo, I say Fields.
Yep.
Fields and Jones, I say Fields.
Yep.
Fields and Murray, I say Murray.
Just because of the talent.
What's the records?
I think they're both 3-win teams.
Okay. So we said we're weighing production over talent.
Okay. Cardinals are 4-6. Bears are 3-7.
We said we're weighing production over talent.
Mm-hmm.
Talent is
And thinking about the rest of the season too.
And the rest of the season, I say Murray in that.
Okay.
And they're neck and neck.
Okay.
Murray and Rodgers.
I think Fields has better fantasy production the rest of the year, though.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But they got on us about using fantasy as
I know.
last
Well,
time.
Who cares?
So,
they play fantasy too, so.
F y'all. all y'all talking about is fantasy these days. And then we use fantasy.
Post this clip too. We don't care.
Yeah. Think about y'all. All this talk online all day about fantasy. We use fantasy as a critique. And oh my God, they use fantasy. Y'all can kick rocks. eat a Frank. Yeah. Thank you. As they told us a while back. Eat a Frank. Anyways, Murray versus Rodgers.
We digress.
Yes.
Murray Rodgers. Tough. Both 4-6.
Correct.
Both have struggled.
Correct.
I definitely like Rodgers more as a QB.
I agree.
I'll go Rodgers rest of the season. We saw a glimmer of hope last week, so
we just saw Rodgers as that. I say Rodgers still.
Yeah, I say Rodgers too.
Gino and Rodgers. I say Gino right now.
Yeah.
Gino and Tom. They just played and Tom won that, but Gino's been better. So
I got the dub. What do you think? I mean, I'd probably have to have Tom above Gino. Me personally.
So. Yeah. Tom and Jalen.
I'd have Hurts above him. Yeah.
Hurts and Cousins.
That game last night was tough.
Yeah, it was real tough. The secret side on Jalen. He's back to earth now.
These are two teams I've been saying like might be a little fraudulent here with the schedules we've seen.
Yeah. They got handed some layups.
Yeah. I'll go Hurts. I like the dual threat there.
Sam and Mac. Mac and Davis. Mac and Kenny.
I guess Mac.
Mac and Trevor.
I'll go Trev. I think upside.
Trevor and Russell.
I'll go Russ right now.
Russell and Jacoby. I go Jacoby.
Would you?
Yeah.
You think Jacoby with the Broncos is doing more?
Yeah, because he doesn't play backyard like Russell does and throw everything off.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny how in the league where all the dual threat stuff is now like a positive, Russ somehow makes it a bad thing.
He's gone back to like trying to be a pocket QB now, and it's not working.
It's not working either. Like either way he tries, it's not working. So yeah, I say Jacoby right now. Jacoby and Zach, I say Jacoby in that.
Really? That was quick too.
That was quick. I might have thought too fast on that, but whatever. Jacoby and Derek, whatever. Can't go back now.
I'd say Derek.
That's fine. Derek and Ryan.
This is the same guy. Ryan this season.
Ryan and Tua and Joe.
That's Burrow for me. I think Burrow and Herbert are better than him.
Burrow, Herbert, as you just said.
You know my pick.
Yeah. Burrow and Josh.
I got Josh over Burrow.
Josh and Lamar. I say Lamar right now.
The arm talent, though.
That's fine, but he's also blown a few games now because of his poor decision.
Y'all blew a game to him, though.
Sure, that was early on. But we've also seen Lamar right those wrongs and fix his play since then.
The righting the wrongs feels more concrete than it may actually be, though. I don't know. For me, Josh is still above Lamar. Because I think he has like the rushing aspect. He's not as elite as Lamar is, but he's probably number 3, I guess, after Fields now.
If we're going right now, we've seen Josh blow a few games now. I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah, you can go Lamar. You can because it's close.
He's not full fraud. I'm not going like that or anything.
It's close, but if I'm ranking QBs right now, like I'd say Mahomes then Josh right now. So, but if you got Lamar 2 or whatever, that's fine. I
understand that's the immediate reality. We see the talent that's there, but the production, Josh has made a whole bunch of bad plays recently.
Yep.
The Jets game as well, where he messed up a whole lot in that game. We talked about it last week or whatever that was.
Yeah.
We've seen some times where he gets comfortable and the game changes because of indecisions. The last They blew that Vikings game because he threw that ball short. The fumble in the end zone, all that type of stuff. So that has to have some value. I know we see what his peak could be.
Listen, I don't disagree.
Right now,
we're talking about, like you said, we're talking about all of it too, not just the last 2 weeks or whatever.
Well, we've seen it all season.
Yeah, I mean, he was dominant until the last 2 weeks or so.
So you want to go Josh too?
Me personally, I'll go Josh. I'm not mad if you want to go Lamar.
I'll give it to you then. That's fine. Sam and Baker.
Yes, Baker.
Baker and Davis.
Davis.
Yes. Davis and Wentz.
I'll go Wentz.
Wentz and Pickett.
I'll go Wentz.
Wentz and Jones.
I guess Mac.
Winston and Jones.
I guess Mac, he's starting.
Mac and Marcus.
These mid-offs. I guess Mac.
Mac and Jared.
Give me Jared.
Jared and Trevor.
What do you think?
Jared.
All right.
Jared and Russ.
Give me Jared.
Jared and Zach.
It's hard with Zach because he hasn't made a whole lot of mistakes, but they haven't had him throwing the ball 35 times or whatever.
He had some mistakes too, though.
He did have a couple, but they were 6-2, what 7-2?
Yeah, they've learned
6-3.
They've learned to guard him a little bit more. So yeah.
I'll go Zach.
Zach and Matt Stafford.
It's a similar thing. I feel like Stafford would be better in that Jets offense, though.
Stafford and I keep wanting to say Brisket. Brissett.
Stafford.
Stafford and Carr.
I don't know. What do you think?
Carr.
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess.
With Stafford with the Raiders, though, you think? Because he knows how to spam his wide receiver one, so.
I guess. I'll give Stafford then. That's fine. That's fine. Stafford and Tannehill.
I'll go Tannehill right now.
Tannehill and Jimmy G.
Game managers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Tannehill.
Tannehill and Danny.
There's a lot of the same type of quarterbacks right now.
Pretty much. I say Danny.
Okay, that's fine.
6-2 or whatever. Danny and Tua's Tua.
Yeah.
Tua and Justin's Tua.
I'll go Tua, yep.
Tua and Kyler. I'll give Tua his props.
I'll give Tua the nod. Yeah.
Tua and Dak is Tua to me.
Yeah. See, you quick with the Dak ones. That's all I'm noticing. You're like, no, I think he's good. No, you quick on the Dak trigger.
Tua and Rodgers.
Tua this year for sure.
Tua and Gino.
I'd say Tua. Yep.
Tua and Tom.
Going forward, still I'd say Tua. I think that offense is
Tua and Kirk.
More of a discussion. I think it's still Tua though. What do you think?
I agree with that. Tua and Jalen.
Jalen
and Justin.
That's interesting. It's just hard because Herbert clearly has the talent.
Yeah.
Herbert with the Eagles. He'd be thriving right now.
Oh my God.
Those weapons. Yeah. They have so many weapons.
Oh my God.
I'd probably go Herbert.
And there we have it. Cancel man a little bit.
That's what is that not okay? 1, 2, 2 and 3, Allen and Lamar?
I think it's fine either way. But if we're going based on right now, as I said, I give Lamar the nod. But I get why you still say Josh, as Josh does show that he's him. But So as he said, our QB ratings right now at the moment, it's basically just over halfway through the season. Mahomes is at 1, Allen is at 2, Lamar is at 3, Joe Burrow is at 4, Herbert's at 5, Jalen Hurts is at 6, Tua is at 7, Kirk Cousins is at 8, Tom Brady is at 9, Geno is at 10, Rodgers is at 11, Dak is at 12. The notables, Kyler and Justin Fields are 13-14. Stafford's down at 18. Russell Wilson's at 23. Carson Wentz is at 28. And Baker Mayfield somehow is not last. He's 31, not 32. Sam Ellinger, who's on here.
If Matt Ryan was here, he'd be last.
Yeah, if Matt Ryan was here, he'd be above a few of these guys. Yeah. And yeah, so Sam Ellinger, who's on here instead, because they made this a few weeks ago, I guess. Sam Ellinger is at 32. So, yeah, what stands out to you here? Anything?
I like the top 5. Hurts has an argument to be in there from how he's played this season, but I think Herbert and Burrow could do the same thing.
And again, to clarify, this is not MVP rankings. This is more so just who is the better QB at the moment. If you're going on MVP, you probably bump up Tua, you probably bump up Geno a little bit, and things of that nature. But just for best QB. Even though it's kind of the same race at this point, but Mahomes and those guys that we listed are where they are.
Brady and Rodgers, I think, are still good quarterbacks. They just have had tough situations with Rodgers losing his weapons and the Buccaneers losing their head coach and trying to figure out how to run their team.
Right.
Because I think they're still 6 and 7, if not a little bit higher.
And again, Dak is 12, and that's about as high as I ever see him being. That's not a bad thing. Being a top 12 quarterback.
Let me see. Looking at these names,
being top 12 is a great thing, but I don't think he's ever going to be top 5. So
looking at these names, if we're just not talking about forget this season,
right?
I would have Dak ahead of Geno, and I would have him ahead of Kirk. So I wouldn't have him higher than 10.
I think that's as high. I think 12 might be as high as Dak ever gets. So looking forward as well, I think most of that top 10 can stay around there. But I think we're going to see Kyler get back right and jump ahead of him. Ooh. I could see Justin Fields.
Brady's going to retire, so he'll be out of there.
Yeah, so of course, those guys get bumped up. I see Justin Fields continuing to rise.
Improve,
I could see Trevor Lawrence getting right and figuring things out there. Zach Wilson has high upside. So I think there's a lot of guys that could still jump up in that mix.
I think what you feel about Dak is how I kind of feel about Kyler.
And I'm fine with that too. I don't think I think Kyler might jump one spot ahead of him. Saying that Dak is elite and saying he's going to be up in the top 6 one day, I can't see that. So that's more so what my point was. People say he's up there with the up echelon, and whenever they say that, I'm like, haven't seen anything that proves that. I think there's hopes for that.
I don't think either of us have said that.
Not us, but I think there's a lot of hopes for that. He's a great guy, great story, all that kind of stuff. Took Tony Romo's spot, notably, and all that. His career has been fun to watch.
Yeah.
But as an elite QB, I don't see him up there. He'd still be good and succeed and be a great quarterback from that 12 spot. But in regards to just QB rankings, I don't see him getting much higher than where he's
probably there. If you do the tiers, with S tier, A tier, B tier, he's probably B tier.
Exactly.
And top of B tier, he's right there, but he's not.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So that's really my thing. You made it seem like I had beef with him. It's not beef. It's just
no. You were just quick on the trigger with some.
Yeah, hey, and I think it worked out. I think it worked out just fine. So I'm cool with how he played. So I don't have any other notes really here, any other gripes or anything like that.
The whole other half of the list, I don't even want to look at. So
there's really no point.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. Some could say Jimmy G is too high because he feasts off of the support around him.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't really have any other note there.
None of those guys can make a jump other than I think Trevor Lawrence has some upside, but he's got to show us.
Trevor and Zach.
Maybe Zach.
Maybe. You think Russ ever gets back to the left?
What would be the difference in his game, do you think? Like, what would change that? A better running back?
I don't know what would, to be honest, right
They have
now.
the defense. They have a decent offensive line. He's got
Their
receivers that are young.
Their receiver core actually is solid. He's just not meshing with them at all.
Right.
They have a tight end that's emerging now in Dolchich, or whatever his name is, who's a rookie, I believe.
So maybe it's like the play calling and head coach would help.
Yeah, just figuring out his new play style as he's getting older, because the play style he once had no longer works.
Yeah.
So
because I don't think he's 23. I think he's better than some of these guys. I think I'm on your side a little bit. I think he's better than Goff, Wilson, Brissett, Garoppolo, Tannehill, Daniel Jones. So I think he's probably around 15 actually, but just how he's played this year and what Denver has showed, he deserves to be where he is on this list. But so to your question, I think he could be better than this year was.
Right.
But I don't think he can get back to like let Russ cook in the MVP conversation. I don't think he's ever getting an MVP vote.
Nope. I agree. So it is what it is. We'll see how these things adjust. We might return to this right before the playoffs and just do a final ranking instead of 3 weeks like the team one, if anything. So, but yeah, good stuff there. Again, a little last. Ooh, sorry, I'm a dog back there fighting and stuff. But last note. Again, all love to Stay Hot Pie and all y'all doing over there. Appreciate the system you guys come up with. Cool stuff here. Just for fun, real quick. I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but I want to see what this consensus ranking looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not right at all. I don't know what this is.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Joe. Yeah, this is off. I don't know what this is about.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Never mind. So forget that. Don't even. I'm gonna cut this out if anything. So, but yeah, that's it for there. Yeah. Lastly, as I get us back to our dual screen, ending the show as we always do, we'll have our quick picks and get up out of here. Appreciate you for tuning in to everything. I'm excited to talk about this week. Not a whole lot of questions. I ask questions in the middle of these things, but as you'll see, these matches are pretty nasty. So we're just gonna breeze through this and get up out of here. But first off, as I alluded to at the beginning of the episode, so as we get into our quick picks, our first game we're gonna get to though first, SC UCLA. We gotta talk about it. How you feel about the game heading into it? They have USC at 2.5. We lost our running back last week. I was at the game and it was sad to see him go out like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
starting running back.
I believe Travis Dye, I believe his name is. He went out with a foot injury. I believe it seemed. I didn't see the whole details of it and all of that, but it seemed pretty bad. So I believe he's gonna be out for a few weeks. More. I forgot what the full report was, but he's gonna be out, but still a whole lot of talent all over the place. Excited to see the Caleb Williams versus Dorian Thompson matchup there. And I know you're picking, but. Any thoughts on the game?
But like the unbiased view though, I think -2.5 is fair. Like for USC, like I think the slight edge is fair. I think these are
even going into UCLA because y'all have the home game, I guess.
Is it? Oh, it's at the Rose Bowl. Okay,
I thought so. That's what it said to me. I couldn't get tickets.
I don't think it matters location. I think I'm fine with the slight edge to USC. Especially UCLA coming off the Arizona loss.
Right.
Arizona also like put 38 on USC. So like we see like that offensively they can put up points, but that's a crushing loss for the playoff like chances because like they needed to pretty much win out to be considered in that top 4 at the end.
Right.
Because now they have 2 losses. But
I believe USC is like 7th right now, and UCLA is like 12, something like that in the national standing. So
like that. So USC, if they win out, could potentially be in the playoff. They win out and win the Pac-12 championship.
Agreed.
So huge game for both sides. I think UCLA is going to be extra motivated, not only because it's USC, but because they just took a crushing loss in an upset at home. I think they're gonna feel like they have something to prove. I think this UCLA team has beat USC in one of the last couple years too. So
Y'all stole one.
Like
Whatever.
USC won like 4 games last year, and it's been some down years for USC before this year.
Right.
So I think it's gonna be a down to the wire type matchup. Like I don't think either team should be favored heavily. Of course, I'm gonna pick my guys. You're gonna pick yours, but I think it should be a really good game. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
I'm glad the hype is back for both these squads. As you said, it's been kind of down years for the both of us as we've been going along and trying to get back to the glory days of both of our squads on the football field. And glad that we're getting at least close to that in that regard. I think it's an important game for both squads. You said, as you mentioned on your side, with all that's going on, I think Chip Kelly and all those guys wanting to continue to build on the positives that you guys have been doing. The USC game is obviously a crucial match. Y'all can have a bad season. Y'all can lose every other game. If y'all win USC, it's a positive season. So y'all, of course, even coming off the loss, whatever, this game is going to be impactful for you guys. And the same thing with us. I think it weighs a little bit more for us as we're trying to push for the playoff, and because we just got Lincoln Riley in the building and we just got Caleb Williams, who's trying to push for a Heisman still and all that kind of stuff. We need to win a little bit more, and because of that, I still unbiasedly, even if I didn't have all the USC everything blocked cover your eyes, I think USC would still find a way to get the job done. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very fun matchup. I was trying hard to find a way to get into the building. I couldn't get hand on tickets. Tickets sold out pretty quick. And I still might find a way. I might make some calls. We'll see. But either way,
that's a hot ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. But either way, we'll be tuned in and definitely excited for Saturday. It's been
a while since they've both been like this highly ranked.
Exactly. So good things ahead. Wanted to mention that, and exciting things coming on the way in that regard. But that's that. Now jumping into our Week 11 quick picks. A lot of good stuff in the NFL as well. Packers Titans on Thursday. Titans at 2.5.
Sorry. So this game's tomorrow. Packers Titans. Thursday games have been hard to predict. They've been nasty on Amazon Prime. I'm gonna go with the Titans. I think it's a close game, though. I think the Packers may have found a little bit of something with Watson.
I like favoring the home team on Thursday night games as well. I'm going with the Titans also. More touchdowns out of the backfield on Thursday. Derrick Henry or Aaron Jones?
I think they're going to try to feed Derrick Henry as much as possible.
Yeah. So I was trying to find a question somewhere. I couldn't figure it out. I went with that. I think it's an obvious answer as well. I'm going Derrick. But, excited to see how that plays. Aaron Jones has been solid out of that backfield as well. So it's going to be a good one. Moving on, Bears at Falcons. Falcons at 3 points.
I was going to say interesting that they're favored, but I guess it makes sense with their records.
Right.
But I'm going to go with the Bears here. I think the Falcons defense is vulnerable, especially with how Fields has been playing of late.
I'm going to stick with the Falcons, though. I think they can find a way to hold off because the Bears, as good as they have been, they also been losing games for a reason. So the Falcons can hold them off. Panthers at Ravens. Ravens at 12 points.
Ravens. I don't know about 12. Like it should be like that, but what is that?
I said, do they cover the 12?
I don't know. It should be, like you said. Like when I say it should be a blowout, like it hasn't been. And it really should be against Carolina, but I feel like the NFL is weird like that sometimes. So I don't think they cover, but I think they would.
I say they will. I think the Ravens trying to prove that they are still legit, as we discussed earlier. Really want to have some powerful performances, as they kind of did versus the Saints last week as well. So I think they do cover that 12. So it's going to be a good one there. Browns at Bills. Bills at 9 points.
I got the Bills. Yep.
Bills as well. I think the Browns are going to be ready. They're ready for Redacted to get back. So it'll show why in this game.
Could we say his name once he's back?
Maybe. Commanders at Texans. Commanders at 2.5 points.
Commanders at Texans, you said?
Texans, yeah.
Yeah, Commanders.
Yeah. Texans, yeah. Commanders win that. Eagles at Colts. Eagles at 9.5.
I'll go with the Eagles. They need a bounce back win after that loss.
They need a bounce back. This could be another sneaky game, though. I'm going to take a chance here.
Jeff Sunday's got those boys.
I'm taking a chance on Jeff Sunday now, as he's now named, and going to roll with Jonathan Taylor, who has reemerged, it appears. and say the Colts get past the Eagles here and a shocking upset at home. So
I will say,
got the Colts.
Yeah, to that point about Jonathan Taylor, like the Eagles have been very susceptible to the run. So
it's possible.
That established. It's possible.
It's very possible. So excited to see how that plays. Jets at Pats. Pats at 3.5 points.
I'm gonna go. I want to go Pats here. The Jets have been impressive. I want to give them their respect at 6-3. Pats are also 5-4. I think this defense is one of the better units right now.
They both played each other earlier this year, and it was nasty from Zach and Mac. So it was horrible.
Both defenses are probably gonna have good games. I think. I'm gonna slight edge to Pats.
You can slight edge to Pats. They are at home, so I do get that. The Jets have really been stepping up. And I think have been finding better ways to guard Zach from his own mistakes.
Right.
So I'm going to take the Jets in that. And I guess I was asked with that as well. Better performance individually, Zach or Mac in this game.
I guess Zach. I still say the Pats win it.
Right.
But I don't think it's because of Mac being like sensational or anything. I think it's more like Ramondre going on.
Run game stuff.
So I'll say Zach has the better performance.
I'll pick that as well. I think the Mac era is coming to a close shortly in New England. So it is what it is. Rams at Saints. Saints at 3 points.
Give me the Saints.
Both have been trying to figure out their offense. I'm going with the Saints as well. But both have been trying to figure out their offense and have had their struggles a whole lot. More touchdowns, Stafford or Dalton?
I will say Dalton. Stafford's got to find a way to get it to Allen Robinson, man.
We also
I want to see Stafford without Cup. I don't think we've seen him without Cup.
Right. It's going to be interesting. I think he's going to feed Robinson. He's going to feed Higbee. I think it's possible that Stafford actually gets this. I'm going to take Stafford, surprisingly, even without Cup, versus the same squad. Lions at Giants. Higbee, Skoranek, whoever. Kyron Williams is now in the fold a little bit. We'll see. Who knows? But it's gonna be good. I got Stafford in that. Lions at Giants. Giants at 3.5 points.
I'll comfortably say the Giants. I want to respect them. They've been good.
Correct. I agree. I got the Giants in that. Raiders at Broncos. Broncos at 3 points. They do play this week.
Yeah, they do. I'm gonna go to the Broncos. I'm gonna stick to my word. I'm not picking the Raiders again.
Correct. I think we already asked this, but we brought it up before, so I'll say it. Bigger fraud, Russ or Derek Carr?
Bigger fraud. Fraud is probably Russ. I mean, like we said, they paid him half or quarter billy before he played a snap.
Correct.
And he's not giving them the production. I think Carr is pretty much what he's been for the most part. So I think people were a little bit fooled by the MVP race season.
For the sake of debate, Russ has been – at least has had success to at least warrant the expectations.
Yeah.
Derek Carr has always just underperformed.
Right.
So maybe that doesn't apply to a fraud. So fraud might be the wrong word.
Right.
But Derek Carr has not been as good as folks like to say that he is. So I could see people leaning that way, but I do want to pick Russ as well in that.
I guess like more overrated player, maybe.
I guess so. Yeah. If that was a question, I'll go Derek. But for fraud this year, for sure.
Fraud is Russ. Yeah.
Moving on, Cowboys at Vikings. Cowboys at 2 points.
Cowboys had a surprising loss there.
Mm-hmm.
This is another test for the Vikings, though. I like the Cowboys here. I like that defense. I like that pass rush. I think the Vikings defense is susceptible too.
Correct.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys here. I think some of the fraudulence starts to show from Minnesota.
I'm going to take the Vikings, though, even in that. I definitely hear what you're saying in that, but I think when teams find that momentum, especially coming off of big wins like that,
sure,
I think it definitely can play its part, and they can continue it on, and we're going to see more of Kirk with the ice on him, on the planes and all of that going forward. So, I think the Vikings find a way to get that done. Bengals at Steelers. Bengals at 5 points.
I'll go with the Bengals here. These division matchups are sometimes kind of nasty in the AFC North, but I'm going to go with the Bengals here.
Chiefs. I get the Bengals also. Chiefs at Chargers. This was actually, I said last week was a flex game. This is a flex game.
This is the game that was flex.
Yeah. Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs at 7 points.
Definitely going comfortably with the Chiefs. Like we talked about the first matchup. It could be a close game. It comes down to a close game. I'm favoring Mahomes and Andy Reid. So
yeah, Chargers put up a good fight against them last time and also lost that game. I think it's more the same thing. They put up a valiant effort. I'm gonna come up just short. So I'm going Chiefs in that too. But I'll ask this for the fun of it. We know how we side. In regards to the QBs, right? You went through that.
Yeah.
But their receiving core, Chargers with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Gerald Everett and all those guys,
and Eckler.
Chiefs, yeah, and Eckler, or the Chiefs with Kelsey and the rest of those boys.
Well, I guess how you framed that sounds like the Chargers because he said Kelsey and the rest of those boys. So.
I didn't mean it like that. My bad. I didn't
even say their names.
my bad. But you know who's over there with McCole Hartman and Tony's now over there and all that. So does Kelsey outweigh
Sounds like your answer is the Chargers. Kelsey, Hardman, Juju healthy was starting to find rhythm with Mahomes for sure. He took a nasty hit to the head last week. Juju, Tony, Kelsey, Hardman. I think healthy the Chargers guys are better from what we've previously seen.
Okay, I thought you were going to go the other way in that. Okay.
But I think like Mahomes can make do with either. So like as we see, it doesn't really matter. Like that, right. That the guys maybe aren't as good top end wise, but healthy Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are better than all the receivers they have. Probably better than Juju too. Healthy. It's just they're not better than Kelsey. I take Kelsey.
If we're counting Kelsey in that, I think Kelsey has enough weight.
Kelsey is better than everyone else for me.
Correct.
But after Kelsey, I think Keenan and Mike would be the next best too.
Okay, so you're saying
and then Eckler out of the backfield too.
So you're kind of saying Chargers. I'm gonna still say Chiefs in that.
Okay.
And maybe that's because of Mahomes in that element, which I shouldn't count.
I think it is.
We're saying receiver core.
Yeah.
But I think the mix of I think Kelsey has enough weight that even alongside Juju and Mecole and all those other guys that they are just barely better than that Chargers squad. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs squad in that for the sake of debate. Niners last game Monday night. Niners at Cardinals. Niners at 7.5 points.
Give me the Niners. Yeah,
I agree.
Closer than 7.5.
I agree, and to that point, this is a must-win though for the Cardinals for their season and all of that.
I would say yes at 4-6. Yes, and it's a division game too, so that could be key as far as tie-breaking at the end. I would say it's a must-win for the Cardinals. They're in this similar spot as the Rams last week when they lost Cup. Yeah, I think they got to win this.
I don't know how they're going to do it. I think Marquise is still a week away from returning with them and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they need this win if they can find a way. So excited to see how that plays out Monday night. A good week of football for the most part across the board yet again. Excited to see how it all plays out. I'm excited for Saturday again. We talked about Usc-Ucla. It's going to be a fun matchup. And yeah, just good stuff all over. So appreciate all you guys for tuning back in. That's all the NFL stuff. You want to throw in a quick NBA question or anything like that?
I had a quick NFL question real quick.
Like, where are you going to go to end it? You can end it real quick.
Yeah, with because I was just thinking about the 49ers roster after we were talking about that game. Do you think with a good, I won't say good because Garoppolo's okay. With a better quarterback, do you think they'd be the favorite in the NFC?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because think about that roster. The defense is really good.
The defense is really good. They have
McCaffrey and Eli.
Yeah, and the backfield receivers on the outside. Yeah, Kittle and all that.
Debo, Ayuk. Yeah.
A quarterback that people trusted in that backfield. Like even just actually, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say Kyler would do that for me.
No, Kyler wouldn't do that for me.
No, but a better quarterback. I might even say if they had, what quarterback would put you without, of course, not the super elite names.
Yeah.
How much higher above Garoppolo do you need?
Like the lowest quarterback that could get him over the hump?
Yeah. Because I'd be pretty confident with Kirk, honestly.
I was gonna say like the discussion we were having before, like Kirk and Dak to me are like similar. Like I think those guys I trust throwing the ball more than I trust Jimmy G.
Real quick.
Just pulling up our list again.
Yeah. So we have Jimmy at 17. How much higher above him would you need to swap him out to call the Niners the number one
the
spot
favorites
right
in the NFC?
Favorites right now, yeah.
Yeah. I think you start to have the discussion at Kyler.
Okay.
And then like for sure Aaron Rodgers. Like that's guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah.
We're the favorites to win the Super Bowl at that point.
Correct.
But I'd probably like Kyler and Dak is where you have the discussion, I think.
How now going the opposite way, how far back would take them out of contention? I think Stafford still could do it. I think Carr could do it. I think Jacoby.
No, I would not trust Jacoby. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably about it.
Much as we like Mr. Brisket, I don't think he could do it either.
Yeah, I hear you.
Carr is probably the last one you could maybe. I'm not 100% sure. Stafford, can do it.
Right.
So Carr is probably the last one.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, fun stuff there. I like Antoine in that. So, yeah, good stuff all across the board. Anything else info-wise? Nothing. We won't get into it. We've already gone an hour and a half. We won't go NBA today. Sure. We'll come back for that another time. As I said before, I'm easing in the holiday stuff for you in the back there. I had the little hat hanging up before. Now it's a stocking and Santa's sitting back there. You might see some lights coming up in the next episode. We're gearing up for a fun holiday season. Excited for it all. Next week actually will be right before Thanksgiving, so we'll see if we can record for that. If not, we'll let you guys know. But yeah, should be fun stuff on the way. Excited for all things going on across the NFL. In football and all of that. Excited for basketball things on the way too. Good stuff there. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and staying with us. Show love to our Black Panther review we just did as well. Good stuff all around. We'll have some guests back on again coming soon. And again, appreciate all the love. Follow us everywhere, IG and TikTok at Section.300. Follow us on Twitter at Technically Sports. Follow me at Just Say G. Follow Alec R. Foster. Wakanda Forever, Atlantis, whatever the thing is. I
was surprised you didn't have like a Black Panther mask or something.
No mask this time. No mask. If they had come out before Halloween, I might have had a mask, but oh well. Maybe the more outfit next year. We'll see. No, but good stuff on the way everywhere. Appreciate all the love, and yeah, we'll see you guys again soon, man. Appreciate it. Peace.
Deuces.